All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. It is the Oil Stream presented to you by Boston Pizza. If you want to have a good time with your family or your buddies, Boston Pizza is the place to be. Go check them out at all of the Boston Pizza locations. We had a good time at our live on location last week. That was a lot of fun.
Time.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a little bit of a buzzkill. It was shortly after Game 7.
Yeah,
it was still a really good time. That place was absolutely packed.
It was.
That Argyle Boston Pizza, man. They
Shout
get
out to
absolutely
Lynn.
packed over there. Yeah, she was great. Helped us out with everything. We got set up. It was a good time. We'll be at another Boston Pizza here a couple times throughout the summer as well. Tommy the Wrench first over on YouTube today, stealing it from all the listeners. My God,
Get on it, listeners.
what a guy! What a guy today. Oh, I thought you were having a two hoots in a red solo there.
No, I need a cappuccino.
Today was fun, wasn't it?
Today was really good.
Yeah, we're talking about the $100,000 hole in one.
Yep.
Out at the ranch.
Yep.
I'd like to do that again. We rolled through 25 golfers like in less than 30 minutes. We could probably expand it a little bit next year. Like,
shout out to Ryan. Had a long, good chat with Ryan. And then Mitch, who went to school with my brother. I didn't know that. My brother Mike, the often forgotten middle brother.
jeez, the forgotten Gazzola.
Yeah.
How does he feel about that?
He knows.
It's not as bad as when you trash ball hockey with Paulie, is it? Like,
it's still a tough and sensitive subject for Paulie. His buddy Doof, who listens and watches.
Yeah.
What's up,
What a
Doof?
name, Doof.
Michael Dufresne, yeah. Doof actually was at my place for the Game 7, and they were watching with Paulie and Doof's girlfriend, and Doof started talking about ball hockeying it, trashing it, and he's like, Doof, please don't. He's like, I'm sensitive about this. And I just started laughing. I'm like, I can't even say anything.
I love ball hockey, but I love the fact more that your brother gets sensitive about ball hockey.
He does.
That's too good, man.
It's hilarious. And it's a great activity. And
Well,
I
you know
admire
what?
those who do it.
Matt from Paris Jewelers, from the Paris Jewelers family, Matt coaches ball hockey, the national team.
Yeah.
And they were just overseas and won world championships.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's cool. Like, we're the best in the
great for
world
an
at that,
activity.
too.
Yeah.
Take that, rest of world. It's really good. All right, so what are we going to talk about today?
I don't know. Anything.
There's lots we can get to today. Scott is in and says, guys, that was the safest $100,000 ever. And 30 feet for the 1,000 winner. It was killing the field. Yeah, that I didn't think anybody. Well, there was a couple really good swings after our winner put it close early. There was a few pretty good swings at it, but just we both took a swing at it too. If you weren't watching this morning, when the event was done. Now we didn't have our clubs there.
No, I don't
want to make a huge excuse, but
that was my first swing. That was literally
the whole
my first
season?
swing. Yeah.
looked like it.
Yeah, it was. I was stiff. My back cracked. Cal, thanks for letting me use your 5-iron.
You got it up though, but just came in short. Hit the drink.
But that's not. That was a low shot still.
Yeah.
With my club, like that would have been the right club with my clubs. And if I had actually swung the club.
What'd you hit? Was it a 5?
It was Cal's 5. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I hit a 5.2, and I liked it. The swing looked really nice on Twitter, but I got it over. Like, I would have been fine with that shot if I was playing my own round.
Yeah.
I would have been a little bit disappointed, but I would have played it.
Mine was low, and I knew, I'm like, I didn't make good contact. The line was good, though. That's it. But 180 is not easy. Congrats to Brad, though, on picking up the $1,000.
Yeah. No, I thought he was. He did a great job.
Yeah, and shout out to everybody who qualified and everybody
Golf
who
Town,
entered.
the presenting sponsor.
Golf Town, and obviously Murray over at the ranch. That was
Threw
a
in the
lot of fun.
$1,000 for the winner. That was awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was fun, and yeah, if we do that again next year, like, awesome.
Telling you, the golf tournament next Tuesday. Didn't you just want to get into one today there?
Yeah, I did.
I know.
That's what Belzy's here,
Yeah.
and he was like, I just want to golf. Actually, Murray and Belzy were working on Belzy's swing.
Were they?
He's got to get
Man,
his
Murray
hips
McCourt's
moving.
always helping on swings, eh?
Murray's a busy guy.
Got to get the hips going, eh? Yeah.
He's got to get your hips going. Loosen them up.
Even my own TikTok account has realized I suck at golf because I just keep getting a bunch of golf instruction videos on TikTok now.
The algorithm's got
The
you.
algorithm has got me big time. It just every third video on TikTok is just asking me if I want to correct my slice.
Yep.
And I'm like, damn it, I do.
Yep.
Show me these tips. I want to see them. So it was a lot of fun. Golf tournament next Tuesday is going to be an absolute riot.
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to that next week. Should be a pretty good time. Machine Gun Yanmark says trade proposal incoming. Give it to us. Give it to us. Hit us with all summer long. We're here. Trade like a lot of other people aren't doing the shows as regularly. We're not going anywhere. We are here for your trade proposal all summer long. With that being
Why
said,
are people asking if we're shutting down?
well, I don't know.
We're a station.
I mean, we're not going anywhere. Right?
Yeah.
This is we're working on adding stuff, not taking away. It doesn't make any sense. I also was just going to be like, I'll be very fascinated by all the trade proposals we get this year because who are you moving? Like, what are you trying to do here, really? Like, they've built a really good team that finally has a lot of depth. I know there's some maneuvering around the cap that'll have to be done, and we'll talk about that today. But, I mean, you got to be pretty happy with where this team's at. It's not like all of a sudden you need to make 9 trades to be a contender.
The Ken Holland put this team in a really tough spot chatter. There's been a couple of those trickle in, but for the most part, it's pretty quiet on that front because of everything that Jeff Jackson and co have accomplished. So refreshing, different. And yes, there's going to have to be some movement, obviously, a little bit of shaking and baking when it comes to the roster to get cap compliant by the time training camp rolls around, but or whenever the deadline is. This is good. It's been great work, and it's almost like you've got $2 million plus over the cap. B, you have like too many guys.
Yeah. Well, that's the other, like, a lot of the bodies that have come up, not a lot of bodies, but the few bodies that have kind of come in. Kane, is there a possible move there? Does McLeod possibly get moved?
CC.
Like, those are all guys that you look at and go, I'm not sure where they fit necessarily into the forward. CC, I still know where he's. CC is still better than Brown and Stetcher. He just is. But I'm like, when you're looking at McLeod and Kane, where do they necessarily fit into the top? Like,
where does Derek Ryan fit in?
Derek Ryan,
and
too.
I know his cap hit's minimal. What is he, 875 or something like that? But yeah. that's another thing. Is like, what about Derek Ryan? He still has a year left on his deal.
Yeah, like, to me, if you end up trading Ryan McLeod, it's not like, there's a hole to fill. Like, they've got enough bodies now where I guess it would be a luxury if you could turn some of these guys into assets, or a real luxury if you could somehow fit them all in and ride the thing out as long as you could. So we will get into that as we work our way through the show. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart, we're at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Please tell your friends about what we're doing here at EST. Just tell them to download TuneIn or iHeart. They're free apps, and you can listen to static-free sports content at your fingertips all day long, and we think you'll like it. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up. And if you're watching later on YouTube, something that's archived, sub to the channel as well. We're less than 30 subs away from 9,300, which is almost 100 sub boost since yesterday. So if you're watching over there, please sub to the channel. That would be great. And if you have any questions or comments on the roster, hit us up in the nasty chat. And, of course, you can text us at 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. AJ in Montreal says, oil stream 3 days a week all summer?
Yeah.
How about Elks and Stinger shows in a couple of those spots, eh? Well, here's the thing. We're going to have a lot more time on the Nielsen show to talk about Elks and talk about Stingers. So you're going to get, and the hangout and stuff. I mean, the oil stream is an Oilers show. Which is, I mean, we mess around with some other things, obviously. But, yeah, this noon hour spot will be a lot of hockey throughout the summer. In the end, I mean, I would love to do an entire day here where we don't talk about the Oilers. Mm-hmm. I could talk about the NBA. I want to, like, don't even get me started. I might go back to the hangout just to get angry at everybody later today.
You should. Right? The last half hour, you're going to be, like,
I was telling Iwanek, I said,
knock someone out.
You either get me in on the hangout this year, or I'm going to spend 3 hours one morning in the summer on the whole Jordan LeBron thing. And I don't care if people are like, can you get back to McLeod and possible landing spot? I'm sure. Like, that day, I'm just shutting off everything, and I'm just going to go on a rant for 3 hours. And I think I could do it. I honestly think I could do it. So I just looked at the text line after the hangout. It was
got a guy right there just waiting for you. He's taunting you.
Good. Cal from the park. Cal from the park, who's in the golf contest today, at Hudson's one day. He goes, I'm a big MJ guy. I was just like, my God. That's why when he went for a swing today, I coughed. Oh, take that, Cal from the park.
I like how he ripped the dart while he took his swing. Sean Bartholomew Bell says LeBron sucks.
Oh my God! You got to come up with something better than that. He's the all-time leading scorer. And, of course, LeBron's the only case where, like, nobody cares about longevity. They're like, he played a long time. My God. Yeah, no, we're trying to do Oilers stuff here. Mills is just reeling me in. I'll get sucked into man, I tell you.
He also added something that's not fit for air right after that.
Somebody bring me a drink. I need a drink. Come on, get me a drink. Get me a beverage. Trev. Yes, Trev. Get me a thing of 2 Hoots.
And Zacticum jumps up.
Yeah, Zacticum went quick.
Wow.
My God. Zacticum just went flying by. That was great. That was nice. I mean, he moved quick. Trev hadn't even looked yet. Look at Zach work. He's in sweats today and a T-shirt. Yeah, he's just living his best life.
Brand new red Solo cup.
He's just living his best life.
He is in sweats.
Yeah, he's in sweats today. He's just chilling today.
He doesn't give a what.
No, I mean, we could all do the shows in sweats all the time. Nobody sees our pants. I'm wearing golf pants right now.
Yeah, you look good. I'm wearing these joggers.
Oh, yeah. Those Lulus?
No.
They look like they could be Lulus.
I have Lulu joggers. Yeah. They're very nice. They're very comfortable.
All right, the Oil Stream is brought to you by Boston Pizza. We're going to have a guest today. We're going to talk little Hlinka Gretzky, which I'm going to be calling with Craig Button in early August. Hockey Canada came on as a partner here to promote the Hlinka Gretzky, and we're going to get into that as we work our way through the show today. Byron Bonora, who's a head scout for the U18 program with Hockey Canada, is going to join us. We'll talk a little bit about scouting some of these kids as they work their way towards the U18 program, eventually onto the World Junior program. So we'll get into that today as we work our way through the show. But yeah, a bunch of you chiming in over there. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Enough with the basketball. This is the Oil Stream. We don't need to see all these texts right now.
I love it.
It's okay. If you want to see somebody become fully unhinged, if I was to set, like, maybe when Eric's on vacation, I'll just do a show by myself. I'll sit right in the middle. I'll be like, here's my reasoning. And Matt, you have to come in and put me in a sleeper hold for the hangout, because I'll just keep going. All right. Stop talking about basketball in the nasty chat. Let's get back to hockey. I can't believe I'm saying that right now.
Do whatever you want. It's the off-season.
Zactica, my man. What a guy. Delivering. You didn't spike this, did you? I hope not.
You look very comfortable today.
Man, 2 Hoots hard iced tea is just...
Don't give a hoot.
This is the ultimate beverage, man. I swear to God.
Machine Gun Yanmark says Bronny is going to get a spanking from LeBron if he screws up.
That will be funny. Go sit down, son.
You're gonna
That'll be good. That'll be good.
LeChoke.
Oh, really funny.
Velzy's getting you, man.
Really funny. Oh, these hilarious
be here
jokes.
More often.
I'd like to stick around and argue with him after, but I gotta go right to the airport after this, so I don't have time. But I'd sit here all afternoon. I'd take down one of those boxes of 2 Hoots, and Tam would have to come pick me up after.
You guys can.
Did you guys start talking about MJ and LeBron again? I did, babe. I love you, but you're gonna have to come get me. That'd be a lot of fun.
He is just mucking it up over there.
Yeah,
he's loving this.
All right, so Tommy, before we get Byron on, it's like this is the thing this summer. We got tons of stuff we can talk about. Have some fun. Lots of stuff to talk about. Every Monday on the Nielsen Show, I'm going to be dropping a different set of line combinations for the Oilers, which we can dissect for the entire week on EST, which will be a lot of fun. But all in all, I mean, if we watch the day unfold on July 1st, and this is our first Oil Stream since July 1st, as we watch that day unfold, when was the moment for you when you're like, oh, man, what a day? Because I think there was a couple of different spots where you could have actually thought that.
Okay, I got to remember the sequence of events, because I think Arvidsson was the first.
It was Arvidsson, then Perry.
Yeah, okay, I can tell you exactly
then
how
Skinner.
I felt. It was... No, Skinner came later in the day.
Brown. Then in the afternoon, Yanmark. Was Yanmark before Skinner? After?
Brown was first.
Brown was first.
Connor Brown was first. I was like, oh, that's
Connor
good.
Brown. I was talking Josh Brown.
I'll tell you like my sequence of thoughts as the day went on. So Connor Brown, like right as I was turning things on and getting ready for the day, I was like, that's a good get. 1 year, $1 million. Nicely done. And I was like, well done. And then the Arvidsson news came, and I knew that I was going back and forth with some people to figure out, get a sense of where things were going, and I was like, oh, I was told be on the lookout for Arvidsson, and I was like, that's great. And then someone's like, yeah, and they're in on Skinner too, and I checked around, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's smoke there. And then they announced Arvidsson like half an hour later, and I was like, I think it was after my hit or or I mentioned Skinner during the hit. And I was like, that's a good get for Arvidsson if he stays healthy. And I was like, I wonder how much of a impact Ekholm had in making that deal happen. And sure enough, Arvidsson acknowledged Ekholm was a big part of getting him over to Edmonton. And then the price point was good. So I was impressed there. And I was like, okay, Brown and Arvidsson, that's good. That's good. Then they announced Perry. I was like, that's surprising, but okay. And then I was told, be ready for Skinner. Things were picking up. And then it kind of went quiet. And then I thought Henrique would be done and go somewhere else because I'm like, they don't have money for Henrique too, especially after a pretty strong season. He's 34 years old, probably looking for a couple of years. And I was told that, yeah, Henrique, like the money thing could be the issue, but it depends where he's at in his career and what he thinks is of more value. Is it more money, like $1 million or $2 million more per year? Or does he want an extra year? Or does he want to win a cup and get paid a decent amount? And it turns out he wants a chance to win a cup and get paid a decent amount, which is the contract that he signed. So I was like, this is steamrolling into a pretty good day. Fogle goes away. Desharnais moves on. And I was like, that's okay. I think they'll be all right. Those are holes that were kind of anticipated. And then eventually the Skinner thing happens. Then the Janmark, I was told Janmark, they were just trying to figure out the money. And
ended up probably going a little bit of a year, like 3 years to get that number down, right?
And they kind of, that's 2 years in a row where he played on one-year deals, and they sent him to the minors when he first came to the team. He was not happy about that. I remember him being really pissed off as he was leaving to go get ready to go down to Bakersfield. And I was like, geez, they've got everything basically wrapped up. And then the Skinner announcement was made later in the day, and I was like,
well, I think we were together when Henrique got announced, right? Like,
yeah,
we were at the baseball game.
Yeah, I was shaking my head and clapping, going like, that was pretty good.
That's what I was telling, I don't know where it was. Guess Lock Shop probably yesterday. We were talking about it, and usually we try to stay pretty even keel on the oil. But when they brought back Henrique, I just kind of sat back and I was like, wow, like Jeff Jackson really cooked today. Like, it was a really good job. So, yeah, let us know. Break that down for us. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Over on YouTube, if you're watching right now as well, you can hammer the thumbs up, sub to the channel. We're almost at 9,300 subs over there as well. Hey, and every time you like it, it'll push it out to more people who then can also like it and then sub to the channel, and we'll hit that 10,000 hopefully by September.
I hope so.
Which would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we're closing in on it there. So sub to the channel if you would like. All right, so a couple of things. We're going to get into the Hlinka Gretzky, which will be a tournament happening in August. And I'll be calling it for TSN with Craig Button, which I'm excited for two things. One, to call an entire week of junior hockey and an international level is going to be great. But working with Craig Button is an absolute. I've done it once before. U17s in Medicine Hat a few years back. As good as he is doing hits on our shows in the booth, he's brilliant.
He's brilliant. Really tough guys to deal with. Button and
Me and
Nielson.
Button?
Yeah.
Sorry, different. Craig. No, sorry, Dustin. Sorry, Craig. Sorry, Dustin.
Yeah. Really hard to deal with both of those guys. I can speak on that on personal experience.
Single game tickets are now available for the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, starting at just $20. Families and friends can take advantage of the Me Plus 3 4-pack offer. Pay for 3 tickets, and the 4th is free. So that's a nice deal too. Me Plus 3. You pay for 3 tickets, you get a 4th ticket free. They've got the 3-game Canada pack. They've got the 4-game medal round pack. And we've got a 7-game pack of tickets that we'll give away right now. Just text in Button. Text Button right now to 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Text Button to that number right now. Zach will draw one of you, and you're not going to go into a draw for it. Text in. Zach will pick a winner, and you will win a 7-pack of tickets to the Hlinka Gretzky Cup. We're going to dive in a little bit more. We'll come back around to the Oilers here, but one of our partners wanted to bring in Byron Bonora, head scout for the U18 program. He joins us on the show today here on the Oil Stream. Byron, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here and talk about the Hlinka team.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely get to that. I always, when we have opportunity to chat with guys in any area of the game, I'm interested in your path. Like, how did you become the head scout for U18 group here with Hockey Canada?
I scouted the Western League for the Spokane Chiefs for 7 years, and then decided to leave, and this job kind of fell in my lap. I'm pretty fortunate to start at the U17 program. In the past 2 years, I've been able to do the Hlinka, and then this past spring, I did the U18s, which we won gold. So pretty fortunate to work with some of these high-end guys. And following the draft on the weekend, it was, real exciting to see those guys get drafted. We had a lot of first rounders from that U18 team, and that with our Hlinka team in August too.
So for you at this stage, this role with Hockey Canada, is it a lot of video scouting here in 2024? Or are you getting out to a lot of these other events to see these kids?
I try and watch them live as much as I can. You get a better feel watching these guys in person. You get to see more things than you do on video. Obviously, video now is a big resource. You can watch a ton of games in a short period of time and watch clips of guys, and you don't have to watch the full games. You can just watch each player at individual shifts, which is a lot easier for us. You don't have to sit through a 2-hour game. You can watch a guy in 15, 20 minutes, which is a lot easier. But obviously, seeing guys live is much more effective.
Yeah, I was wondering about that when you said you can just sort of watch their shifts now. How does that change the way you evaluate a player as opposed to just being there in like what do you see differently when you're live as opposed to being able to still watch the entire game, just not there?
You get to see behind the play, kind of what they do on the bench, how they interact with their teammates and officials, and how they sometimes you got to watch how they are receptive to coaching. You see a game plan that a coach might put out that, are these players following it? Are they, beating to their own drum, that type of thing.
Byron, I was going to actually ask you about that a little bit. When you're getting these guys in I know a lot of them are already on Hockey Canada's radar and you guys are familiar with them, but how much discussion is there between yourself and then the coaching staff about the chemistry of the group going into a relatively quick tournament like this, and how much of it can you let that kind of slide if a guy's a little bit off on his own kind of page and does his own little thing? What's that chemistry and cohesion like? What do you guys like to see?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that these aren't all-star teams. Like, we want guys that, kill penalties, play a fourth line role that can play against another team's top line. Like this past U18 team, we had, a fourth line of Cole Baudouin, Carson Wetch, and Malcolm Spence, who, they're all very good junior players and put up a ton of points. But, when they get to these competitions, they accept a role that they're able to play against the U.S.'s top line and shut them down a lot easier. Like Cole Eiserman didn't even have a goal against us in the gold medal game. So those guys are a lot more key. We want guys with good character. Obviously, everything that's happened in the past couple of years, we want those guys to buy into our system and do the right things on and off the ice. And, those character things go a long way for us right now.
I was kind of joking with Tommy before, but I'm not even sure if it was a joke because the brick tournament is happening here in Edmonton at West Edmonton Mall right now. And I don't know if people get on the radar at 10, but like at what point do guys start to get tracked by Hockey Canada?
For this team specifically, the Canada Winter Games took place last year. That was our starting point, and then we follow them through their U16 year where they play U18 or U16 AAA across the country. We try and get eyes on them as much as possible, and things like WHL Cup that was in Red Deer, the OHL Cup, the Q Cup. They have 3 of those, so we get the chance to see a best on best quite often, and that's the best evaluation where you can see the guys play against the top players in their age group, which is really beneficial.
I did the Winter Games in Red Deer in what it was 2018, 19,
a while ago,
whatever it was, 2019 maybe. And that is a great evaluation tool for you, I would guess. All the guys going head to head against each other. That's got to really give you an opportunity to tier and separate some of these kids.
Yeah, for sure. And, there are guys that develop a little bit later and weren't on some of those teams that are on these teams now. So that just goes to show that, the development that we have in this country. And, depth that we have in this country too. Like you look at the draft this past week, and there's guys that were taken in the first round that haven't played in our program yet, and that just goes to show the overall depth. And there was a ton of Canadians that were taken in this draft, which is great for our country. And moving forward, some of these guys are going to be part of our program that might not have been, and some guys that kind of slip off a little bit, but I really like the depth of the overall group, and this Hlinka team is going to be outstanding. It's going to be a competitive camp, and that team's going to be very strong.
So speaking of that, and again, like I know you said that there's guys that have been drafted that aren't part of the program or aren't part of the program yet. Are there long shots that might be able to make this team, or do you have a pretty general understanding of who's going to be on this roster already, Byron?
I have a pretty good idea, but that's why we have a camp, and some of these guys might have, really good summers. Some guys popped more in the spring than they did at, early in the year. That there's a couple of guys that weren't at U17 tournament that are going to be at this camp just because they developed so well with their CHL clubs. And that goes to show, how they develop in different situations. And, we want to give these guys an opportunity if they've earned it.
And I have to ask you about Gavin McKenna, who just had a huge, huge season with the Medicine Hat Tigers. He's not eligible until 2026. He would be eligible for this team, but is he a World Junior guy already, or how's that work with McKenna?
He will be coming to our Hlinka camp.
Okay.
Obviously, he's definitely on the radar for World Juniors. He's a exceptional talent, but he wanted to play in this tournament. He wanted to prove himself with his age group as well. Obviously, what he did at U18s by setting the record for points by Canadian is outstanding. And, for his development, this is a good opportunity for him too, but you might see him at the World Junior down the road in December as well.
I'm excited to see him play. What's the comparable? Like, what type of player is this kid already? Who does he look like?
It's hard to compare him because he's so good at everything. He's just one of those talents that, when the puck is on his stick, it's electrifying, and he makes things happen. And, what he did in the gold medal game on the power play on that 5-minute was, outstanding. And for him to rise to that occasion, he was the youngest player in that tournament. And, he's a outstanding young man, and, his talent just speaks for itself.
What's the strength of this U18 group right now? Maybe not just only this team, but in Canada, what would be the strength of where players are developing right now?
For this team, top to bottom, it's going to be very strong. Like we have, Jack Ivankovic, who's a very good goalie. He was with our U18 team. He didn't play, but we brought him in. He plays in Mississauga. And then, our defensive core is going to be very strong. We have a very good mix of, size, skill, competitiveness. And up front, there's a ton of skill in that top nine. And that fourth line, and quote unquote, is going to be, a hard line to play against, and they're going to be able to, they're going to be able to produce too. They're very good players. So really this team, there's not going to be really a hole, and I'm really excited to see that team as a complete and see what they can do.
Byron Bonora joining us now from Hockey Canada, getting set for the Hlinka Gretzky tournament starting August 5th here in Edmonton. I'll ask you this to kind of follow that up, Byron. With, there's been a lot of talk, especially with World Juniors, obviously in December, it's in the spotlight, the U.S. and its program, and people going, well, what's going on with Canada? How is things progressing, and how are we developing our guys? And I know we have a ton of talent, obviously, in our country. We have great players. We medal at all levels, men's and women's, but a lot of talk has shifted to the goaltending in our country. Where's that at? Are we consciously making an effort to improve it? How do you kind of see it? Because you're basically the front line of the next wave going forward with the future generations here.
Yeah, I think, there's always talk about we're struggling with goaltending, but we have outstanding goaltending at every level right now. See what Carter George did at the U18s, and drafted in the second round, and like I said, Jack is going to be a very strong goalie. So I think those goalies develop at different times too. They develop a little bit later. But I think our goaltending's in a good spot. It could be better, but I don't think it's hurting us by any means. Like Carter was, one of the reasons why we stayed in that game, in the gold medal game against the US. And there's good goalies, and like I said, they develop at different times too. Mm-hmm. Like especially with the World Juniors, there's always a goalie that pops at his 19-year-old year that gets an invite and ends up making the team. You've seen that the past couple of years. So I think we're in a good spot. It could be better. I don't know how we develop, but we've hired Justin Pogge to look over our goaltending situation, and he's done a great job. He works with the goalies on the ice during the season with their CHL clubs. So we're continuing to improve and find ways to make that happen.
Byron, appreciate the time today, man. I know you're busy putting this roster together. Have fun finalizing it, and I'm sure I'll see you around Rogers Place in early August.
Perfect. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
There we go. That is Byron Bonora, who is the head scout for the U18 hockey program with Hockey Canada. And yeah, I wasn't sure if McKenna was going to be there because I was texting with Button, and I was just like, man, like, I cannot wait to call this McKenna kid. And he goes, he wasn't sure he was going to be there because he'd be getting like the World Junior Camp and trying to be ready for some of that instead. So it was nice to hear that McKenna's going to be on this team.
And he wanted to be on the team.
Yeah, he wants to go prove himself.
Gretzky.
So I know it's a few years away, but there's a bit of a Bedard buzz here with this McKenna kid. So
give it some time.
I hope he wants.
Let it percolate.
I hope he wants to be a Calgary Flame. Just kidding.
Stop it.
I mean, that'd be great for the Flames. This is exactly what the Flames should do.
Well,
like the
they're kind
Flames
of
should
doing
continue to
that.
tear down and draft Gavin McKenna. Like,
I guess they could.
that would help a lot more than riding out Huberdeau and finishing 10th for the next 6 years.
Do you think they should get rid of Kadri?
Yes.
I feel bad for Nazem. He's one of the few bright spots that they have.
Well, no, that's good. So move him. Like if you could get that contract off your books at this stage, why would you not? I know some people are like, the Leafs are interested in Kadri. Well, then good, trade him.
Go get him.
Go trade him. Like, you're not in the same spot you were when you brought in Kadri, and you're not in the same spot you are when you got Huberdeau. Like, you're
I know it would probably piss off Oiler fans, and I understand, but I actually really appreciate Nazem Kadri and the type of player he is, whether he's being a jerk on the ice or he's playing with skill. I like having players like that on teams that I would be with and associated with. Like, if I played on a team, I'd want a Nazem Kadri on my team.
As soon as somebody becomes an Oiler, their history doesn't matter anymore.
Corey Perry.
Zach Kassian.
Remember
Cassian and the stick on Gagne, and it's just like,
jaw.
I hate the now. I mean, he's a legend here now.
Yep.
You're giving me standing ovation just for being in attendance during the playoffs. Like Corey Perry's, and remember what will they tell Corey? Like, people hated Corey Perry. Now he's barely going to factor in on the ice. They still brought him back, and you still love him. Like, it's interesting. Like, Viktor Arvidsson's another one. Arvidsson is going to go from a serial diver to, my God, the gamesmanship in this guy's unbelievable.
When you said that the other day, I started laughing. I was like, yep.
Well, it is.
Exactly
it's the truth.
We're
not going to have people, we're not going to have Oilers fans texting him and being like, man, guys, Arvidsson was diving all over the ice last night. Even if he is, it'll be spun a different way.
It'll be like his gamesmanship was through the roof the other night. Yeah, he dove 4 times.
What's the biggest? Who's the biggest non-Oiler? Heel turn coming to the Oil. Who would that be? That's a fun question. We would definitely dive into it more in the offseason at some point.
Yeah.
But that's a fun question. I like.
That's a good one.
I like that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it might be some of the guys that we just talked about. Like, people did despise Corey Perry here. Like,
was there a Flame or a Canuck that came over? I know Cassian was another. I'm thinking like back in the day, like Kent Nilsson.
I don't think so.
Would that count? No, not really.
780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Or hit us up in the nasty chat. If you have any questions over there, that would be great. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I was telling Tommy earlier, my mouse is screwed up. Usually I can move it from here over to this one, just going left. But now, the way it's set up, I have to go up to get to the other screen.
You'll get it figured out. We're almost there.
Messing with me.
Daryl G via the nasty chat says the dude who broke McDavid's jaw that Shirelli signed. That was the guy. He's talking about Brandon Manning.
That was a trade,
and that was a clavicle that he broke of McDavid's in the end boards collision in McDavid's rookie year. And
didn't they trade Caggiula for Manning? It's in the Pete Left a Tire Fire song.
Yeah. It did not go over well, and he was not really. I don't think he was very much embraced by the fan base.
How do you not have? Yeah, but what about the team? How do you not have a pulse?
That team was
on your team. If you're Peter Chiarelli, you go out and trade for the guy who injured your generational superstar.
That's when you knew Pete had lost it.
What an idiot! But yeah, that heel turn was not like people were like, "I love Manning now." Like when they like, that was never the.
And I don't think he was. He was quickly sent to the minors, and I was told a non-factor in Bakersfield. I think he was even a healthy scratch at times.
Penner's Pancake says Bieksa, which is a good one because people did not like Kevin Bieksa.
Oh, yeah.
And now they love him as a broadcaster.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he didn't put the Oilers jersey on the ground and they're like, Bieksa, we love this guy.
You
like,
should have been in orange and
do you
blue.
not remember everything you said about this guy for a decade? Like, it's kind of funny. Portions of the Oil Stream, and we're sitting here in the studio, brought to you by Popeyes, Louisiana Chicken. Boneless wings, now available at all Popeyes locations. If you've not tried these yet, they come in all the regular flavors that the other wings do. See you later, Belzy.
Bye, Belzy. Look at that working the phone.
That guy's always busy. He's a busy guy. They come in all the same flavors as the bone-in wings, except without the bones. It's the boneless wings available at all Popeyes locations. All right, keep those text messages rolling in here. Somebody asked a little bit earlier on, and we can get to it right now, and it's something that we'll discuss as this timeline continues to play out. But somebody asked earlier, why do they need a GM, Tommy?
Oh, there's a lot of day-to-day stuff that a CEO doesn't need to worry about, and you need to handle as general manager, and someone to kind of pull the strings and oversee everybody else, because they still have a pretty robust staff.
So like a people manager almost.
It has become that. Really, and that's, I kind of talked about it a little bit. It's the evolution of the GM role in hockey, because you see like a lot of tandems now. I point to like Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton in Montreal, Patrick Alvin and Jim Rutherford in Vancouver, and then there's like Luc Robitaille and Rob Blake in LA. Although you can say,
I mean, they should both be fired.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they're still holding on to their jobs. It's their legacy in LA, obviously. So it has evolved, and so that's why you kind of need a GM and the face and the voice, so to speak. That's why. And then I think I saw somebody in the Nasty Chat earlier say, why doesn't Jeff Jackson just take over as GM? He doesn't want that job, and he's.
He just did that job.
He just did it.
He put in a master class. Nobody will ever come in and do what he did on July 1st.
No, and that was phenomenal. Him and the team got to work, but there's a lot of day-to-day, call it babysitting. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that kind of thing is not what he is.
So do you need a big name as GM? Or because somebody
you
suggests
need somebody who's like an efficient worker and someone who's organized and has a good rapport with the rest of the.
So they're
teams.
hiring Bill Scott to be their general manager.
Well, Bill Scott,
he's very organized.
He's very organized.
The way you just described him, I was just like, Bill Scott could do that. Cass and I both threw a vote of confidence behind Bill Scott yesterday.
Keith Gretzky's the same way.
That's where the question came from, because somebody's like, Dusty, like, do they have to go and bring somebody else in, or can they just make Gretzky officially the general manager? Jackson's still going to call a lot of the shots, or could you do the same with Bill Scott? And Cass knows Bill through family. He absolutely loves him.
Yeah.
I coached Bill's kid last year. We were on the ice a bit together this year.
Forever.
He is just an absolute sweetheart of a dude.
Yeah.
I think those guys would be capable of doing what you think this job may require now, right? There's this other hockey mind at the top that will veto anything you screw up anyway, probably. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they need to go out and land a big name GM.
That's fair. It probably, the more hands on deck, the better, obviously. Keith Gretzky and Bill Scott, by the way, I'll add, have been GMs for AHL teams.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Bill, I've known Bill for 14 years since he took over in Oklahoma City.
Has he been there since for 14 years?
The same year I started with Oilers TV was his first year as GM of the Barons.
And that's like organizational guy who's worked his way up.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I'll follow up what you and Cass said. He's a good man, like a really good man, and very organized. Keith Gretzky is very well liked within the organization. The players in Bakersfield, young and old, like him very much. He's very personable, has great connections throughout the National Hockey League. So you could potentially move them up. And I'll add this. Jeff Jackson, who we're praising for that free agent frenzy day, his general manager experience is the same as what Bill Scott and Keith Gretzky have.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
As an assistant GM with the team and overseeing the farm team. He did that with the Marlies/Leafs.
Has the agent background that
the agent
those guys
thing
don't
is,
have.
but Bill's
that's okay.
Bill's the son of an agent, Gil Scott. Bill is in player management. Like, Bill's been like groomed to be a hockey executive since he was 4 years old.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
He was at Michigan State, and I think he oversaw the Michigan State team that had
like
Ryan
when
Miller
he
on
was
it.
there,
Not as a player,
yeah,
manager.
I honestly, I think that would be a great fit. Do you think they go fishing for something bigger?
I think so. I still think they will, and it sounds like that's the plan. But
I don't know if it's
solution.
necessary. Like
they have 8 guys.
Yeah, like you have. There has to be an in-house solution, and you still have Jeff Jackson who oversees it all anyway. So I don't know. I don't know if you bring in a bigger name with more history. How does it necessarily help you much more than what you just saw Jeff Jackson and this group of all the other guys they have put together on July 1st? And it's a group of guys that Connor and Leon and these guys are familiar with. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it sorts out.
Couple of nasty chats. Dwight Schrute, stop for GM. Just let's put that to rest. No.
Well, it's funny because I didn't even want to read that one.
I know.
Because Stoff texted me today and said, "Hey, have you been saying I'm the shadow GM?" Haha. I was just like, I might have said that.
Loves it.
LOL. I know he loves it. That's why I didn't want to bring it up today because it'll get back to him on his show. They'll be like, Dusty was talking about you as shadow GM again. And then Stoff will text me like, were you saying I was shadow GM?
Stop saying that, Dusty. You really should.
But he loves it.
Yeah, he does.
He loves it. We know he loves it.
Then let's go to Jess Sammy, I believe that is, says, I nominate Gazzola. I'll take that paycheck.
Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be great. And then
I mean, I've
there's one
won
more.
5 of the last 7 championships in the Juan Rincon Hockey League.
Some would say that would qualify you for a GM role.
And you know how I did it? I drafted Connor McDavid and built a hockey pool team around him, and it's a juggernaut. It's a juggernaut.
Well done. Brett B texting and says, is Brad Holland sticking around, Tommy? I didn't think he would because Kenny was leaving, but he was in all the meetings and around on free agent frenzy. So he might be. And it sounds like he will be, but if that changes, we'll pass that along. I thought he was going to go, but looks like he's still kicking around.
All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, and you can hit us up over in the Nasty Chat as well. If you are watching over on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us. And there's well over 200 people watching right now. Where are we at for likes? What's the man? This mouse thing, I get this sorted out. I don't know why
you've brought it up.
I don't know why all of a sudden.
59.
Here's the thing: I have to go down to get it over, which is very frustrating me right now. It's acting like this monitor's underneath this one. And that makes no sense. And I know how to change it, but I just don't want to change it mid-show just in case I screw something up.
You can do it.
Anyway, we're at 59 likes. We got to smash through 100 here. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, hammer the thumbs up. Portions of the Oil Stream brought to you by Popeyes, where they do have the boneless chicken wings now available. Winter Woolies says, if they win a cup, I don't give a F who the next GM is. It's interesting because just to continue with this next GM conversation, whoever they bring in, if it's somebody from out of the organization, will have a significant role in securing Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid moving forward. Won't they? Or is that just still a Jeff Jackson relationship thing?
I feel like that.
And if it is, then why have a GM?
My guess is that's Jeff Jackson, Paul Coffey, and Daryl Cates dealing with that, with those two specifically. That's the tippy top. It might be beyond whoever comes in as GM.
Yeah, so that's why if McDavid and Draisaitl still sit down across the table from Jeff Jackson, why do you need a GM that's got 10 years experience somewhere else? Or has had a scandal in the past and is looking for a fresh start?
Yeah, that one's not good. I don't like that idea.
I don't. We talked about this yet. Well, I don't even want to talk about it. We're talking about Stan Bowman.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about it unless it becomes a thing. I don't want to waste time on it because I don't think it deserves time.
Fair.
Unless it becomes a conversation and they decide to do that. I think it's a very arrogant play by the Oilers if they do that, because you're telling me you can't find somebody who's just as good at his job as Stan Bowman is that doesn't come with the history of what happened with the Chicago Blackhawks. Like, I have a hard time believing that. If that's the case, then everybody else who's qualified for a general manager position should just never get a job again ever. It's so we'll dive into that more at that time if it happens. But part of the fact that they don't have a GM yet and he's eligible to work on July 10th is a little weird, but and they have just like he's been brought up.
Yes.
So, and we're not talking like by us. We're talking about like the organization has talked about the possibility of it. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there, I guess is what we're saying. But I don't know. The more we talk about this, if the bigger decisions, like the franchise defining decisions, are still going to come from Jeff Jackson, why not just let a guy like Gretzky or Scott, who've been around the organization, who know everybody in the organization, assist you in running the organization a little bit more so, right? Like they all do in certain ways anyway. Like,
by title, probably pay raise and some more responsibility, but the heavy lifting would probably fall on the shoulders of Jeff Jackson, pardon me.
All right. This one says, guys, is there any way the next GM would get any credit anyway after Jeff Jackson's performance this week?
No.
Like, let's say they sign Draisaitl to an extension. And that gets taken care of, and it's 8 years, and he's around forever, and that means that McDavid is going to come back. Let's say that gets done, and then after that, they hire a GM. What will that dude ever get credit for? Next year's trade deadline? Like, outside of that, even people then will say, well, yeah, but Jeff Jackson, look what they did on July 1st, and he's the one who got Draisaitl done. Like, never get credit for anything.
I wonder if this is me just throwing out a thought out loud. Jeff Jackson is essentially looking for a right-hand man, aka sidekick, and someone that.
So it is Stoff.
No.
Every time I say it, I feel like you think about it a little bit more.
Stoff would love it, and I say
I'd love it too because I would just rip the you know what out of him after every game.
Yep.
Oh, they lost last night. Well, what's Stoff doing about it? That'd be a lot of fun, actually. That would be pretty good. Like, just to have free reign to just get all after it. It would be kind of funny. It'd be a
dream come true for one person.
Love you, Stoff.
We love you, but it's not a good idea.
780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Guys, is Jackson looking for a similar situation to Shanny and whoever the GM is in Toronto?
That could be it.
Is that it?
Could be.
Shanahan's still rolling control over there, right?
Right. Like he kind of handed the reins off to Lou Lamoriello and then Dubas and then wasn't happy. I'm surprised Shanahan has survived all of this.
I thought he was going to go when Dubas went.
Yeah. And especially with a new boss at MLSE coming in. Was that Pelly that came in?
Maybe on the clock now then.
Potentially.
Like how would he not be on the clock now? Like he should have been on the clock 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. He's got to be on the clock now.
I would think so. But I mean, it's, same thing as Luke Robitaille, Rob Blake. Right? Although they haven't been there for 10 years.
I'm trying to think. Somebody correct me here or somebody help me. What have the Kings done well lately? Like from a managerial perspective. I'll sit here and wait.
I mean,
like what's the good move the Kings have made in the last 3 years?
They hired Todd McClellan, but he could only take that roster so far.
Yeah.
And he put them into that whole 1-3-1.
Do you know what I'd say is probably the best thing that they've done? Is doing nothing on Byfield.
That was
like just let Byfield. Remember Byfield after their first year, people were like, I just don't, even after a second year bit, they're like, I just don't know if he's going to become the player that they thought they were when they drafted him, but they were patient with him, and it's paying off big time now. He's a stud.
Danault was a good get.
Hasn't got them any further, though, but I agree. I mean, Danault's a good player.
And then I think they've handled Doughty and Kopitar, like the transition to the next generation.
They're trying to.
I think they've kind of guided that okay.
I think they've hurt themselves in some of those situations too.
Well, the Dubois stuff was
terrible. The Dubois trade was awful. I mean,
the goaltending.
The fact that they moved him, I guess, would be an A+.
Yeah, well,
basically had to give him away.
The goaltending they never improved. That they tried with Korpisalo, didn't work. They tried with Talbot and Copley, did not work, obviously. Quick, they probably should have moved on from Quick. The Peterson contract that they gave was 3 years, $15 million total, 5 years per. That blew up in their face. So they've had a lot more misses, especially lately.
One of the things that we'll discuss over the next little while on the Oil Stream will be the Oilers being over the salary cap and how they get. We don't have enough time. I don't want to get into it in just 5 minutes. It's a full show here at some point in the summer, unless they take care of it quickly enough here, and we'll kind of discuss that a little bit. But I did want to get to, after the dust settled in the first 2 days of free agency, Tommy, how do the Oilers not win this division?
Vegas got weaker.
Vegas is weaker.
Canucks got weaker.
I like DeBrusque.
Oh,
but
so
the
do
Canucks,
I.
the Canucks aren't
overall,
as good as they were last year.
Exactly.
Like,
Calgary got weaker.
Calgary's a non-factor now. I'm sorry. I'll just say it.
Seattle, I can't define Seattle.
No, I think it's fair to say Seattle got better, but still not good enough for the Oilers to be concerned about winning the division.
Okay, that's
right?
a good way to
That's
put it.
fair. They're better.
San Jose, that's still a
Ducks.
work in progress.
Nothing.
Anaheim,
Nothing.
They
Kings
should walk away.
Kings should be
Same.
what they've been.
Yeah.
Like the Oilers improved. Nobody else of significance improved in the division with the exception of Seattle, who wasn't just in the next tier looking to get over the hump. So if the Oilers don't win the division this year, they kind of just have themselves to blame on that one. I think the division, and they haven't done that yet with this group, I think the division is there for the taking right now.
If
for
they
the Oilers.
didn't start 2-9-1 and lose every game to Vancouver in the regular season.
Yeah, they would have won it last year.
Exactly.
KGill97 says, every team in our division got worse or stayed level. Seattle moves weren't that strong, except Edmonton, who did. I do like Seattle's moves.
They brought in Montour
and Chandler Stevenson.
I like that.
So those are two good hockey players.
Reuniting a couple of old Golden Knights.
Yeah.
They have a steady team. Like you look at every line and you're like, yeah, those guys are all right. It's like a bunch of second lines and one third line.
Yeah.
And then the defense is decent. Goaltending, I think, is still a weakness for them. Phil Grubauer, that contract they gave him, no bueno. And then there's the other thing that I'll mention about Seattle. A lot of question marks about the hiring of Dan Bylsma.
Oh, yeah, they did change the coach there, too.
They got
That's a
rid
good
of
point.
Haxtell.
Yeah, so that's going to be different, too.
And I know Bylsma helped Pittsburgh win Stanley Cup and, was highly regarded for a while. Went to Buffalo where nothing has gone right over the last 15 years. But it was interesting hearing reaction from other people around the league about the Bylsma hiring, and they're like, yeah, could have had someone else instead of Bylsma. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Coachella Valley was so good for the last couple of years that they've actually been a team.
Brett B says, you're counting out Tyler Toffoli and the Sharks already? Give me a break.
Sorry, my bad, Brett B.
This is going to be weird because I don't want to feel bad for these guys who are getting paid $20 million to play hockey for 4 years. Like, you've got a great life. You're rich. You get to play a game we all love. I'm very envious of you. But, like, I kind of feel sad for Toffoli going to San Jose and Sean Monahan going to Columbus, and they're getting paid, but you're also sitting there going, well, I'm winning absolutely nothing the rest of my career.
Yeah.
Like that it's got to, like, Monahan's getting $25 million to go and be irrelevant in Columbus for the next 5 years of his life with his good buddy.
And
but how do you go and you're like, well, 5 years left in my career and I'm not winning a Stanley Cup. That's got to be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow for some of these guys who've been good hockey players for a long time.
But Cass and Belsey have talked about it. There are guys where their motivation is completely different than others. And what I mean by that is some are very content to put in the work from September to mid-April, make their millions, play 90% effort most of the season. And if they don't make the playoffs, they're like, that's okay. I'll just go enjoy my summer. And then there are those who sincerely just thirst for victory. And maybe that might be a sign. I'm not saying I don't know those guys. I'm just saying there are those types of people. I don't know Toffoli. I don't know Sean Monahan. I'm sure they want to win, but that might be indicative of like, hey, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go take the money. And
there's always a chance that Toffoli gets traded in 2.5 years to a contender.
Both of those guys, too, are kind of like mercenaries as well, where their names always or seem to come up a lot in trade rumors, and they end up going to contenders. Toffoli's one already.
I mean, that won't happen with Monahan with 5 years remaining on his deal.
Yeah,
I don't think,
and maybe, part of it's the Johnny Gaudreau factor. And in Columbus, I know that they're probably saying...
I love Johnny Gaudreau convincing other guys to come waste the rest of your career.
Branson, Monahan, Gaudreau, reunited.
That sucks.
In Columbus, and I remember having a Columbus reporter on the pregame show, and I was asking about Gaudreau in his first season with the Jackets, and he's like, oh, that was a huge get. And it showed that Columbus is a destination for superstar players. And I was like, oh, you don't know Johnny Gaudreau, do you? And I could see them in Columbus in that market spinning it that way. It's like, oh, they're going to rekindle the magic between the two. And maybe they do. Maybe it is the start of something good, but it seems unlikely from this vantage.
Name 3 defensemen on the Blue Jackets right now.
Werenski, Goodbranson, and...
Time's up.
There's that one guy that just drives everybody nuts. I can't remember his name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the Blue Jackets are quite a ways away.
Yeah.
So... I don't know. I mean, what are they? We got the whole summer to talk about weird free agency decisions. So we'll go there. Penner's Pancakes over in the Nasty Chest is going till 4 p.m. today. Not yet, my good friend. Not yet.
Oh.
I have to go to the airport right away because I'm hopefully flying from here to Calgary to Regina.
I like how you have to say
today.
hopefully with these airlines.
Fingers crossed. I think they're trying to get people back up to schedule here because I'm on like a big plane from Edmonton to Calgary.
Good.
Like a big one. Usually those are the small ones, right? So
usually, yeah, but good. That's why these airlines have those planes. Use them.
Put more people on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, that'll be fun. I'll be in Saskatchewan for the Riders and Argos. And Rashog's refusal to work in the summer has led to you getting a couple more CFL games as well.
Can't wait.
That's great. Yeah, Tommy be on the sideline a few more times here with CFL on TSN as well. All right, that is going to do it for the Oil Stream today. Nielsen Show replay coming up on TuneIn and iHeart. You'll get a small dose of Whale and Wolf. That show will fire up at 1 o'clock if you're watching on YouTube. Back tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock with Lieutenant Eric holding down the fort. And more fun on just an amazing free agent run for the Edmonton Oilers. For Tommy Gazzola, I'm Dustin Nielson. Huge shout out to a presenting sponsor of the Oil Stream, Boston Pizza. If you have kids, get them the Bugs and Cheese. The kids have been eating Bugs and Cheese for 10 years. They love that stuff.